I'm Gretchen,
I'm Corey.
and we are two girls and Jesus. We are here to dig with you on some verses about happiness and joy, and just trust and contentment. What else did we say, Corey? Do you remember?
I mean, we said that we wanted something light, bright, cheerful, happy,
Yeah.
and I think that we've done that.
Yes.
I mean, it stirs up all different emotions, right?
Yeah.
Even when you're going towards happiness. But yes, these are lighter and brighter, and I like them
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, I do too. So,
Hey,
y'all,
we
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
talk
No,
about
you
our
go.
shirts.
Yeah, you go first.
Well, mine says "Bloom where you're planted." You can't see the whole thing, and if I stand up, it's just going to mess up my cameras. But
Yeah.
it's a great T-shirt. It's comfort colors, and so of course it's super soft. Everybody loves them. I got a medium, and I think it fits perfect. But I already had some comfort color shirts, so I already knew that. So if you have comfort colors, just get whatever size you know you like. And then I like the one you have because I bought that one too.
Yeah, we're twinsies. Yeah, this one is the Two Girls and Jesus podcast, and also look, I'll flash y'all. I got the Two Girls and Jesus t-shirt too. It's I love the color. It is so precious, and I don't really do like pink girly stuff, but I was just so drawn to that pink for some reason.
Plus, it's
Maybe
October.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe because it was October, you
Yeah.
know. But it comfort colors. I also got a medium and it fits perfectly. Um, and I don't know how much y'all know about comfort colors, but they were the best t-shirt ever.
Yeah, I think everybody pretty much has one by this stage. I mean, they've been around for a while and they're great.
Yeah, but they are my favorite. Even if I don't like what is on a comfort colors t-shirt, I will buy it because it's comfort colors, you
Because it feels
know?
good.
Yeah, just because it feels so good.
Okay,
Um,
so they can go to our TikTok page and buy through the TikTok store.
Yep. TikTok shop.
Um,
TikTok shop.
I always get it wrong.
It's okay.
Or they can go to the link in the description. That will
Yep.
be, within
Take
the end
you
of our.
directly to the online store. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I like the idea of sharing this apparel with everybody and kind of obviously you can get something that's very specific to two girls and Jesus, or you can just get something that has like a cute saying. The next one that I'm getting says seek. Does it say seek him? Yes, seek
Yeah.
him. I had to think if it said seek him or seek first. But no, it's seek him. I love it.
Yeah. I also got the Yahweh t-shirt.
Hmm.
It is, I cannot wait to wear that one. But I wanted to represent the podcast today. So
I didn't want to be complete twinsies with you.
you didn't know I was wearing this.
You're right, I didn't. Okay, I'm in Florida, to be fair, and it's hot still.
It's really cool up here today. That's
No,
why I
it's
have
like
hoodie on.
85.
Oh no, I don't even think it hit 70 degrees here today. It's been overcast and rainy and blah.
Well, then let's get some happiness and joy in your brain.
Yeah, let's dig in. You want to go first? You want me to?
I'll go first just because I'm
Okay.
so proud of myself for being able to say this word.
Okay.
Ecclesiastes chapter
Woo-hoo!
30, verses 12 through 13. Um, I did the NIV version because I always do, and it was kind of making me go, I don't know. So I did the easy. And the easy version says, so I realized that good people should be happy. They should enjoy good things as long as they lived. There is nothing better for people to do than that. People should be happy to eat and drink. They should enjoy the work that they do. All these things are gifts from God. And it made me think about a little bit about my kids because I feel like our generation, and maybe I'm wrong, but it was all about good work, do your job, do a great job. You have to work, 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 work. Been doing it since I was 14. And sometimes I've loved my job and sometimes not so much. But I think that we were just made to, you go out, you work, you earn your money, you take care of your family. And I think that younger generations, like my girls, are just trying to find a job that they have joy in, that they're happy with every day. And that's why that made me think about it as you shouldn't just be going to work just to earn a paycheck.
Yeah.
You should do something that you love. And And that wasn't always the case for me,
Right.
especially, when I was younger, it was just about a paycheck. And so I just like that they both have been able to find things that truly do bring them joy and fulfillment. And it took me a long time to get there. I'm trying to think if I thought anything else about it. I'll let you read yours and then I'll tell you because I kind of went off, not off script, but like outside of what this was talking about. I did that a lot.
It's okay. I do too. Okay. So I, of course, did the NLT. And it says, so I conclude that there is nothing better than to be happy and enjoy ourselves as long as we can. And people should eat, drink, and enjoy the fruits of their labor, for these are gifts from God. And, it just led me down this whole thought process of it's okay to be happy. It is okay to enjoy your paycheck. It's okay to take a vacation. It's okay to, throw a pool party. It's okay to enjoy it. Um, it's, the fruit of your labor back in the day when this was written. I mean, they're literally talking about the fruit of their labor because they grew everything, right? And especially like grapes in this region were prominent. They grew a lot of grapes. And of course, you turn grapes into wine, right? Um, it's okay to take a bunch of grapes and put them on your table for you and your family to enjoy. You don't always have to sell them to make money, to make more money. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just okay. God has blessed you with whatever your work is, He's blessed you with that. Whatever you're being paid, He's blessed you with that. It's okay to enjoy it responsibly, of course. He doesn't want us to be irresponsible, but it's okay to have fun and let your hair down every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yours was a lot more serious than mine.
No, and well, the funny thing is where I was going off what this was really getting to, but it made me think about how I do take time now to enjoy things that I didn't used to. I used to love to bake cookies and cupcakes and whatever, like that did make me happy, right? But it's a science, right? You know what the measurement's supposed to be. You're not adding a little of this, a little of that. Well, when I came here and my life slowed down quite a bit, just because it's a small town, it's totally different. I'm not, working nonstop. Um, so I started cooking regular foods, like soups. But I became crazy obsessed with soups and getting all these different flavors and then trying to remember how to replicate it because I wasn't measuring. I was just, which my mom probably loves because that's how she tells you, just a little foof, foof. And that is how her and my girls bake. They don't always follow recipes,
Yes.
but it's always good. But like just little things like that, just enjoying whatever you're doing, just
Mhm.
be happy. So I don't know. That's where I went with that.
Yeah. Fun's okay as long as it's not, of course, God would not advocate for us doing something, having fun that resulted in sin. So responsible fun is a good thing. It's okay. Everything doesn't have to be all serious and uptight all the time. There's a time and place for that, of course, but it's okay to have fun. All right, you got anything else for this one?
No, I think we did. I think we did a great job on that.
Okay, awesome. Let's go to our next one then. Our next verse is Psalm 1, verses 1 through 3. Of course, I used the NLT. Oh, the joys of those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or stand around with the sinners, or join in with the mockers. But they delight in the law of the Lord, meditating on it day and night. They are like trees planted along the riverbank, bearing fruit each season. Their leaves never wither, and they prosper in all they do. And my thoughts, for some reason, on this one went directly to Old Testament versus New Testament. So no Jesus versus Jesus. I mean, now, like Jesus was all throughout the Old Testament, but he wasn't on earth yet. Okay. The Psalms were written pre-Jesus. However, a lot of them were, they talked about Jesus, about this Messiah that was coming. It was prophesied that he was coming, and the crucifixion and the horror that he would experience. But pre-Jesus, there was a lot of law that had to be followed. Like, the Old Testament will just blow your mind at what these people had to do to keep themselves in right standing with God. Um, and I mean, I'm just like, I'm so glad I didn't live there, because there's no way. There's just no way. And then maybe it was easy for them because they were accustomed to that. I don't know. But I know me and this mindset and this frame of mind, being from the USA, because, Americans are spoiled. There's no way I could have done all that. There's no way. I don't remember the left earlobe, the right thumb. I never remembered all that stuff. So now, you get to the New Testament where, we have Jesus, and you're not under the law. You don't live under the law anymore. And so I used to think about being a Christian, like I mean, way back in my younger days, why don't you go to church? Because there's so much I can't do. There's a lot of stuff I can't do anymore. If I walk that walk, there's just a lot that I can't do. And I bet there are many other people who have felt that way, and some probably still do. But I was vastly wrong about that. Um, you know, Now I don't just call myself a Christian. I have a relationship with God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. And he is so much better than all that stuff I had been hanging on to, so much better. And the coolest thing about that is when I started following Jesus, because I've been a Christian as far as I can remember. I've known Jesus my entire life. I didn't follow Jesus. Okay. And the coolest thing about it is Jesus never asked me nor demanded for me to give up anything. He accepted me just the way I was and loved me just the way I was. And in that process of growing that relationship, I'm the one that let go of all that stuff. And I can, I just delight in my relationship with Jesus. It's not perfect. I'm not perfect. I still mess up, still do things I'm not supposed to do. I don't wake up every day wanting to do those things, but I mean, it happens because I'm imperfect. And, he doesn't scold me. He doesn't chastise me. He doesn't make me feel, like I'm a bad Christian, like I'm a bad Jesus follower. He doesn't, now, I mean, he'll tell you when you're doing something he don't want you to do, but he still lets you choose. He's not like this ruler. You can't do this, like I thought he was back in the day. And I just I just love love everything that he brings to my life.
That's happy and joy. See, it's all
Yeah.
over us.
Right. Right.
I wrote out the NIV again. I looked at several, and then I wrote out the easy version as well. So I'm going to read that one to you. It says, if someone does not do what wicked people tell him to do, if he does not join with sinners, if he does not meet with those who laugh at God, God has blessed that person. He is happy when he obeys the law of the Lord. He thinks about God's law during the day and night. He will become like a tree that grows beside streams of water. It gives its fruit at the right season. Its leaves do not fall off. Everything that person does will have a good result. And I actually went with that one because I liked that it said will have a good result. Where some of the other versions said whatever they do prospers. And I was like, well, that's kind of vague. I know it shouldn't be as vague, but reading that one and seeing will have a good result, it just resonated more with me. So
Yeah.
that's why I went with that one. And it made me think we all really do want to be the best version of ourselves. We don't want to walk out the door and sin. We might enjoy doing some of the things that are considered a sin, but we don't just want to defy God. That's not why, well, most people don't start their day
Right.
with that thought,
Yeah.
And I think that this is a good reminder that we should every day just try to be the best version of ourselves that we can be.
Yeah.
And that led me to tell myself I need to every morning remember, stop rushing. You don't have to jump out of bed. Wake up a few minutes earlier so that you can spend time. Just pray for mindfulness to start out my day in a way that's pleasing to God. To remind myself throughout the day that even if if I look at something and I am kind of like, ugh, judgy, if I'm being judgy, recognize that and try to correct that in myself because those are just things that we're kind of born into. Like you hear stuff from as long back as you can remember. It could it could be something on TV to where I don't know, you're watching a soap opera and you see somebody being so catty to somebody or even just a regular show. And so it kind of gets in our head, right? Because that's what we're watching. That's what we're seeing as normal. And just because something's normal doesn't mean it's right.
Right.
Because I think about things that were normal in my childhood that are not normal anymore. I mean, gosh, just how parents and grandparents used to smoke in the car with their kids and the windows were rolled up and, in the house and everything. They didn't realize they in no way thought they were harming us, right? In no way, shape, or form. It was normal, but it wasn't right. So just
Yeah.
little
My
things.
daddy used to send us to the store to get his cigarettes for him.
I'm trying to think. I feel like we probably had to do that at some point. Like, maybe we had to run in. I feel like it was at a Waffle House. Like they had the machine.
Jeez, yes.
I
Do they
swear.
still have those?
But then again, no, because you have to be a certain age, I think 21 to buy cigarettes now. I you know, I may have been buying that for myself, but nobody was stopping a kid from doing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't for the parents, but um, I mean, I know lots and lots of parents would send their kids down to the corner store to get whatever because they're cooking dinner or doing whatever and they're out of smokes.
Yeah.
So again, just because it's normal doesn't mean it's right. And then when you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like the way the easy version says will bring a good result. Good result was what it said, right?
Yeah.
Because when you use that word prosper, that word in our culture is attached to wealth,
Right.
So when
Yep.
you hear prosper, it's over, it's like over the top. And I've done things that God told me to do and it didn't prosper, but it had a good result.
Yeah.
But it didn't prosper, at least
Yeah,
the way I think it prosper.
I think that's probably why prosper bothered me also. Like it doesn't mean I'm going to make money from doing the right thing,
Right.
but
Right.
I'm going to feel better. There's going to be a good result out there because I was doing what he wanted,
Right.
obeying his word.
Yeah. So I like good result a lot better too, and I was thinking about, a job. God's told me this is what I need to be doing or a career. And okay, so I'm doing it. I'm going to obey. But this job, being a teacher, is never going to make me prosper. you know,
Not
but is it going to
financial.
have a good result? It absolutely does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It won't be I won't prosper financially, you know, and that's okay. Nobody becomes a teacher for the money. We all know that. But that word in our culture, is attached to money, I think, a lot, and stuff, So yeah, I like good result better too. All right, what's the next verse, Corey?
Oh, our third verse is John chapter 14, verse 1. And I'm going to read both of these because it's just one verse and I like two of the versions. The
Okay.
NIV says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me." And then the NABRE says, "Do not let your hearts be troubled." That's the same. But then it says, "You have faith in God, have faith also in me." So it replaced the word believe with faith, which kind of brought me down that little cycle of what is faith, what is believe, what's the difference. Um, and what I said was believing in something we can't see is faith. Do you ever have faith in a person? And that can let you down, right? You put your faith in the wrong person, whether it's somebody at work who's supposed to help you, a spouse, a child. When you put your faith in a person, it can backfire on you. But when we put our faith in God and we truly do it, yes, that means that we're believing in Him, but we're also putting so much more trust and hope into it. And when I think of the word faith, that's what I think of. My husband, my kids, you, several people who I know, they just have always had faith. It's always been something they didn't question. And I feel like I have questioned a lot. Um, so I hope that I can become more faithful instead of still having that negative voice that makes me question, because it is something that I struggle with. Um, I'm not any more special than anyone else. Everybody has had things go wrong in their life. They've had just an unbelievable loss, or something terrible happened to them that should never happen. But other people just find so much more comfort so much easily, more easily than I do. And I can't figure out why, but it is something that I want. I do want to have more faith, less questioning. So
Wow. Yeah, I can tell you that when my baby sister's husband died, my faith was shaken. Um, I don't know if I've told y'all this or not before, but I was in my early 20s, I was engaged to be married, and that man he was unalived, with a firearm. And 13 years later, that was in 95. And 13 years later, my younger sister's husband was killed in a dirt bike accident. 13 years after he died, my other brother in law died of COVID. So when I had so much faith that God was going to heal my brother-in-law, I just knew he was. I just knew it. Um, and when that did not happen and he died, I went spiraling down this rabbit hole of we're just under a generational curse. Like, all of our firsts have died 13 years apart. Like, what are the odds and chances of that? You know? And I went down that rabbit hole head first, diving into it because I wanted to know. for some reason, there was this need for me to know about generational curses. And um, that is very much an Old Testament thing.
Mhm.
Um, but Jesus was not on the scene in Old Testament yet, right? Um, so, and I just had a really kind girl who could see it all over my face. She was curling my hair for me for some reason. I don't, anyway. And she was like, oh my gosh. She was like, I just did a study on generational curses. And I was like, you did? And I was like, and she was like, yeah. She was like, because my mother-in-law, I mean, she like knows there's a God, but she's not really like a believer, you know. She's definitely not a Christian. She doesn't follow Jesus, you know. Um, and she is convinced that she was under a generational curse, and she didn't know how Jesus would be able to save her from that. And so this she's a real young girl too, like early 20s, you know, half less more than half my age. And she said, so I went on a deep dive, a deep studying about generational curses, and they were a very real thing in Old Testament. But Jesus broke all of that. Jesus broke the law. And not, you know, like broke the law like he was a criminal or something, but
Right.
you know, he nullified the law.
Mhm.
And um she said, so even if your family was under that at any time, Jesus, when he died for your sins, for everybody, he's the savior of the world, it broke that. And I'm not gonna say that I was like, oh, and the doves flew. You know, that wasn't it. Um, but whenever I found myself going back down that rabbit hole, I would think of that, and it would kind of pull me back, you know. Um, so I guess the reason I'm telling you that is because it's real easy to look at people and think that they just have an unshakable faith, you know, and even some of the strongest Jesus followers I know have struggled with why.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean you're any less of a Christian, you know? Doesn't mean that you love Jesus any less or that you want to follow him any less. It's just our human nature to want to know why, you know? I think where your faith kicks in, though, is understanding we don't get to know the why sometimes, you know, and you said it best. God can see all the way around something. We can only see what's right in front of us. I'm never going to let you forget that. If you said that. But you know, it it happens, and it doesn't make you or me or anyone else any less than, you know. It just it just happens. We're human, and God knows that. Thank God he knows that. Right.
Yeah.
All right, do you have any more for that one?
No, but I don't think you read the NLT, did you? Before I
No,
read?
I
I
was,
know, I
I
think I
know.
started this. Yeah. Read your
Yeah,
NLT.
yeah. Okay. So of course, I use three. The NLT is don't let your hearts be troubled, trust in God and trust also in me. The Good News translation said, do not be worried and upset. Jesus told them, believe in God and believe also in me. The easy version said, do not be sad or afraid. Trust in God and trust also in me. And I really had to take a few minutes and kind of meditate and think and just kind of talk to God about this verse, because I was like, God, are you really telling me how to not be worried and afraid and sad and upset and troubled? Like, is it really just that easy? Trust God and believe in me? Believe in Jesus? Trust God, believe in Jesus. Is it that easy? Is it that simple? And you know, and his response to me was, yeah. But I was like, God, but not at first. It's not that easy. It's not that easy at first because, like I said a few minutes ago, we're human and we try to rationalize things and understand things. We're analytical creatures, pretty much. We think things through, and God gave us that brain for a reason. And all of these rabbit holes that I go down doing these verses, I don't go down a rabbit hole every time, but a lot of the times I go down a rabbit hole. Every time in those rabbit holes, I get something out of it because I'm digging for Jesus. I'm digging for God through those rabbit holes. And I might be going here and there and, every which direction away from the verse, but I'm still seeking Jesus. And, I learn more about him as I learn more about myself. And so, but at first, is it that easy to just trust in God and believe in Jesus? No, it's not that easy at first, until you get to that point where, your faith is building, you know. Every time you open his book, you read his word, you read a verse, you have this revelation just kind of out of nowhere, and it's from God. That builds your faith. And another thing that I wrote down was that all of these things that each version mentioned, the sadness, the being afraid, worried, upset, having a troubled heart, all of those things are what we we classify it now as anxiety. Okay. A lot of people think that anxiety, that just that word, is a nervousness, and it it does make you feel that way. But anxiety, which can be debilitating, don't, I mean, it very much can be. But it is a symptom of something. Anxiety is just a symptom, albeit it can be, like I said, debilitating. It's still just a symptom of one or all of these things at one time. And when I realized that, when God revealed that to me, um, I was able to deal with my bouts of anxiety a lot better when I realized it was just a symptom of something else. What is making me feel this way? Oh, I don't want to go to this thing. My stomach's hurting. I feel like I'm going to throw up because I don't want to go to this thing. So I don't want everyone looking at me when I walk in because they're going to think her hair is ugly. That outfit doesn't look good on her. She's too tall to be a girl. Her feet are too big. She doesn't have a nice profile. I mean, she's not bad looking at her straight on, but you check out her profile and, the a side view, and no, she's got a big nose, you know, but in reality, nobody's looking at that stuff when I walk in that room. Nobody is looking at that. I mean, some might, but they're not going to say it. And because if they did, I mean, then I think you can punch them in the nose and it's okay. You know?
We don't condone violence.
No, we don't. No, absolutely not. But when God revealed that to me and I recognized that in myself, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, so you do know what you're talking about up there, I could replace those feelings with something different, and I can't tell you what the something different is because it's gonna be different for everybody, but everything he does works all together for our good, right? He works everything, good, bad, or indifferent, for our good. So whether you're, terrified of walking into that room because of what others may or may not be thinking of you or not, even if that happens, God's going to use that situation for your good, and that is what helps me get through those times. And that's how I started. It's not where I'm at now, but that was how I started doing it.
Yeah. Well, that was a lot for a little verse, wasn't
I know, right?
it?
That's the way it is. Some of those like that we're like, oh, this one's short and sweet. It'll be quick. No, it takes you down that rabbit hole.
Well, our last one is short and sweet. Let's see what it's like. Do you want to finish us up?
Okay. So this last one is Psalm 34:8. It says, taste and see that the Lord is good. Oh, the joys of those who take refuge in him. Um, I also looked up the New King James Version because it wasn't resonating with me. I'm like, I've heard this, but that's not the words. I started reading the Bible, New King James, so when something don't sound right, I go there. And instead of take refuge in him, it says, I know instead of joys of those, it says, oh, yeah, who trust in him. Instead of take refuge, it says trust in him. And then the message said run to him. And so, I might have been hungry when I was doing this one because my first thoughts were taste and see. I'm like, this makes me think of food.
Mhm.
And like trying a new food. Like I'm real picky. I'm finicky about my food. Like if something smells bad or just looks gross, I'm not going to eat it. But you know what I say? I said, no, I don't like that. But I don't know that I don't like that because I've never tried it, you know? Um,
You can just use my words. You know what I say? I don't care for any. Thank you. I don't
yeah,
care for
I
any.
started saying that because I got real tired of people saying, well, have you ever tasted it?
How do you know you don't like it?
Right. I know I don't like it because I don't like the way that smells. I am not eating that. You eat it if you want to, but not me. Anyway, um, so I was like, okay, so taste and see that the Lord is good. The only way you can taste and see is to get up close and personal with him, you know? And there's different ways to do that. For me, that is his word. That is how I do that, is just with his word. Some other people do it through music, through reading, you know, not self-help books, but um, books written by Christian authors, that are, helping them with whatever the thing is, the books, you know. Some people do it through preaching. They like to be taught, and none of those things are bad. None of those things are bad. It's just whatever works for you, you know. Um, but the one thing I did want to say in regarding this verse and the taste and see is the last verse where I was talking about anxieties. People, and I've known people that do this, people that are followers of Jesus, are like, it's anxiety, nothing helps it, not medication. Medication can numb it, but it doesn't help it. Some people say medication helps wonderfully. Again, I guess that depends on people. But it's just my experience. I deal with people on the daily that have many different levels of anxiety for many different reasons. Um, but they're not going to know if they can give their anxieties to God until they try. All you got to do is try, just try in whatever way works for you, casting the line or burning stuff or a worry box, whatever it is, just try. You don't know if it's going to work until you try. So that's where I went.
Well, the NIV is pretty much the same as what you read between yours NLT and the New King James. Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. Um, it made me actually kind of think of like refugees. They're fleeing from something bad
Mm-hmm.
and going to something good.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, anxieties, that's bad. Like you're having typically bad thoughts,
Mhm.
or, just your whole feeling is in a bad place.
And you can even have physical symptoms from anxiety, like the nausea and the sweating, panic, you
Right.
know?
So if you take refuge in God, you have to give that to Him. I said, in order to know God, you have to get to a point where you're building that relationship with Him. And that's what I've been doing the last few years, is actually building that relationship, not just saying, oh, yeah, I know about Him. Yeah, it's great. Everything. Yeah, He's great. I mean, yeah, I believe in Jesus, so I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, just really getting to know, why do people speak so highly about Him? Why is this way? Why are they referencing that verse? What does it really mean? And sometimes when you see verses people reference, you find out that is not at all what they were going for. I know it's not. Like, they took this out, but they don't know what was on either side of that verse. So just saying, before you really push a verse, make sure you understand what's around it.
Yeah.
Um, I
Yeah.
just think that what I've come to realize is that once I really started building that relationship and have Him alongside me, instead of over there where I know He's over there, right? He's there. But now I try to go to Him more in those times of anxiety, or in the times of being just uncertain about something that's happening. I know that a friend is going through something bad, and I want to take the time to not only think good thoughts for them, but talk to God about it. And I never used to do that. So if I can do that now at 51, when I didn't do that at 41, you can do it too.
Yeah. Yeah. He will never disappoint you, and he'll never let you down. And the joy and the happiness, the peace, you know, it may not come right at first, but it, it's not going to be bad. Do you know what I mean? Like seeking Jesus in those moments, your result is not going to be bad. It may not be what you think it should be right at first,
Mhm.
because I mean, it's a process, you know? And again, anxiety can have some very physical, you know, um, ailments along with it, and, it's just like when you're prescribed a medicine, an antibiotic, the first time you take it, you're not cured, you know?
Yes.
Or your symptoms aren't all gone. You have to take it sometimes 10, 15, a lot of days, depending on what it's for. It didn't happen right that first time you take that first medicine. It's a process, you know, and that's where your trust. Okay, I'm going to trust you, God. This is what your word says. Your word says you work everything for my good. So I am going to trust you on that. I might not believe it, but I'm going to trust you, you know? And the more he comes through for you, because he always will, the more you trust him, the deeper your trust goes, the deeper your faith goes. It's amazing. Everything doesn't turn out the way I want it to. Don't hear me saying that. It really doesn't. But God's working everything for my good. But that person that offended me, that hurt my feelings, that maybe hurt me physically or emotionally, God's working everything. As long as they're a child of God, they're a follower of Jesus, they're a child of God, He's working everything for their good too. I'm not the only one. It's not just me out here. I mean, I know I'm God's favorite, but you know what? You're His favorite too, you know? And he's working everything. I'm not the only one in this situation. And I think knowing that just kind of it really humbled me a lot. I have really, really thought about when you told me that day, Corey, on that, like one of our very first few episodes. You're like, God sees the whole person, not just all you see is what they did, what was right in front of you, but God sees that whole person. And I go back to that so much. I cannot tell you how much that has blessed me.
Well, it's the most prophetic thing I've ever said.
Yeah. I don't know about all that,
Keep
but you
waiting.
say some pretty smart stuff.
Keep waiting. God might give me one more.
Yeah. But it really just, I know I'm not the only one anymore. I'm not the only one this happened to. And you can trust him. You can. You have anything else?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so good.
That's
All
what I
right.
like about that's what I like about what we're doing right now. It is good. And I do want people to just see the happiness and the joy that you can feel. Everything doesn't have to be super crazy deep. Even though sometimes these one-liners get
Yeah.
us to go really deep, but it's not all just boring, deep scripture.
Yeah. And one thing I had to check myself on, and I think you and I either texted about this or I can't remember where it came up. It might have been in one of my digs, for the following verses, the verses coming up. But I really had to check myself because I found myself saying, I don't know how this verse is going to give me peace or joy and happiness. How does this verse give me that? And I was still looking at joy and happiness as something I had to obtain because I am not naturally a happy, joyful, feeling person. I'm just not, never have been. Um, so when I checked myself and I'm like, okay, this is not, stop, this is not what this is about. And I could reread the verses through a different lens. Like I'm not having to go get this. I don't have to chase after this. I don't have, I don't I don't have to try to obtain it. The verses made a lot more sense to me then. So I just love what God reveals to me about myself through these.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't understand the stories it puts in my head that I write down, and you're probably like, where did she get that? But it's still helping me. It's still
Yeah.
helping me grow and talk to God, and
Yeah.
something good has to come out of all that.
Yeah. And we're doing what God told us to do. So, there's somebody out there that needs this as well. You
Yeah.
know. Um, so with that being said, I hope you guys have a good week. Don't forget to check out the TikTok shop under Two Girls and Jesus. There'll be a link in the description, comments somewhere. I don't know. It'll be somewhere. Somebody's gonna put the link somewhere to check out the shop. And um all of we don't hear me, don't think we're making a lot of money off this. We are not, but the little bit that we do make is going right 100% into this to do what God has sent Corey and I out to do.
And in the month of October, we will be making a donation towards breast cancer.
Yeah, so wasn't it any pink shirt that you buy? Oh, I bought a
Yes,
pink shirt.
you're right. It is pink.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
think I bought it before that. Anyway.
It doesn't
Because
matter.
we have to buy our stuff too. We don't get this stuff free, y'all. We pay the same prices that you guys are. Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, same prices y'all pay. And oh, I was gonna say something else and I forgot about. Oh yeah, um, wear your faith out loud. Isn't that what our producer's been saying? Wear it out loud, live boldly. What is it? What does she say?
Wear your faith boldly.
Wear your faith boldly. Wear your faith boldly. I am all about being bold about your faith, and there's no better way. You don't even have to open your mouth if you're wearing something that has anything to do with God, Jesus, Holy Spirit. People just ask questions. Yeah. So like, share, subscribe, ring bells, hit buttons, hearts, lemons, squeeze them. Share.
And have a great week.
Have a fantastic week, y'all. Bye.
Bye.